Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Have You Seen This? Season 1, Episode 7. They gave us 7 episodes so far. I still can't believe these people are interested in hearing what we have to say 7 weeks in a row. But it's not just me alone. I can't just ramble about television for an hour and a half all on my own. I need my buddy Snark. I need my producer Dave in the back. And I need all of the audience here. So, starting with you, how we doing, Rob?
Well, I owe my mother $20. She said it would never last this long, I can tell you that. Other than that, it's going fine. I am a victim of the Super Bowl, having to cheer for my former quarterback to win the goddamn thing, because as a Detroit Lions fan, I will never, ever, ever, never, ever, ever, never, ever, never get to see it happen to them. So I have to, farm out my joy to other teams, to other players, and I'm fine with that. I've gotten used to it. I'm an old man by now. God damn it.
Hey, if we want to talk about like cheering for Detroit teams futilely, our producer is a Red Wings fan, and the Red Wings were real good up until me and Dave started watching hockey.
I mean, you guys had your chances. You guys won enough. God damn it. Again, I'm a Lions fan. I'm a Winnipeg Jets fan. I will never see championships in either. So I'm a sucker, but what the hell? Who gives a
shit? All right, 3 minutes in, I'm already being fired. Perfect. Okay, so we can touch on the Super Bowl a little bit. I would honestly jump to you and to anybody in the audience about that. For a while, I watched one football game a year, and it was the Super Bowl. I would make, having known absolutely nothing about the season or who was hurt or any of the teams, I would just make a pick and oftentimes be right. I had like a 4 or 5 year streak where I just picked the Super Bowl winner, knowing nothing about the NFL.
Well, let me know this before next Super Bowl, and I'll throw $30 down and see what happens. And also,
they're the league with 4 downs, right?
You are a Canadian, sir. You don't watch the Grey Cup?
I don't actually.
Oh my!
I never really got into football because of how long it takes to watch. Like, a football game is so long versus how much actual football is played in that game that, I never quite got into it. And then it just eventually became hockey was my one sport that I gravitated towards. And you can't watch 5 sports and every superhero movie. You eventually need to pick one.
Big to differ.
But yeah, so other than that, we've got some interesting news to talk about today. We have I gotta go find my notes here. We have a Lord of the Rings of Power trailer that dropped during the Super Bowl. We have a Blade Runner series that was announced with Ridley Scott, which is interesting.
Right.
And we also this week found out about the return of Futurama. I'm so excited to talk about that one. I have watched Futurama every single episode so many times, and I actually went back and I found my Facebook status on the day of Futurama's last episode, which was like in September of 2013. I made a post about
which time? It's
been
a few times now.
It was the final one, like the one that when the episode ends, it's a time loop, starts in the first episode. If you watched it on television, it aired seamlessly into the pilot of Futurama and made everything a complete loop. The end. But I said even then, I was like, today airs the last episode of Futurama. But this show has had 3 or 4 of those last episodes, so maybe there's hope.
Sure.
And then a few years later, I found this status because Facebook tells you your memories, things you've posted that day in history.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that and I shared it to my wall, and I think this was like 2013, maybe 2015, so still 7 years ago. And I just post like, hey, is it still too late to be hoping this, gets picked up by some other network? And apparently it was not, because about 11 years after the show finally aired its last episode, Futurama is coming back. The last I have heard on it, everybody,
11 years.
yeah, everybody is returning except for, oh my God, I almost blanked on his name, John DiMaggio. Yes, John DiMaggio had some talks with the creators. Groening is back. Most of the team, except for DiMaggio, are back, guaranteed. DiMaggio is still in talks, but they couldn't come to terms on a contract. Both sides want him to come back, but I also heard that they do have a replacement for Bender, and they started table reading yesterday.
Okay.
So if John DiMaggio doesn't move forward with these talks, they are still moving forward with the series, and there will just be a different person voicing our beloved robot.
Do you think that puts the screws to DiMaggio a little bit? Like watch, this is happening and stuff like that. Like everybody else is on board. Like get in here. Like agree to terms. Like what else are you doing? Kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think mostly it's because DiMaggio, after Futurama, goes on to do everything. Like he's big in Adventure Time. He's in Groening's other show, Disenchanted, on Netflix.
Right.
He's in a million different cartoons. I heard a podcast joke a couple days ago that you can't start an American cartoon without asking John DiMaggio. And essentially, like his position was that based on the success of Futurama, based on the success of his name, and based on like how based on the market, the industry at the moment, that he felt that they should be better compensated. Now,
Right.
I do hope that he is at the very least arguing for the co-hosts as well. Like, yes, Bender is a big part of Futurama. I will concede that, but I will also say that Fry and Leela are more important, and they are the stars of the show. And so I do feel that if you're going to argue that you should be paid more, you should argue for your co-hosts as well.
Is everybody getting like the same kind of rate? Like, is it kind of like?
I assume it was. It kind of sounded from what I was reading that they were all offered pretty much parity, and the Fry and Leela's voice actors accepted, and DiMaggio said like, maybe throw in a couple extra bucks on that.
Okay.
So we'll see. Honestly, this could be, 2 weeks from now, he could still finally break down, sign the contract, and get in. The cool thing about cartoons is you can sit a person down and just record their line separate from everyone else's. Especially if they are table reading with someone, they have the lines to bounce off of at least.
And with cartoons, it's different, right? It's because you're not really replacing the character; you're just replacing the character's voice. It's going to look the exact same. They're not going to change what Bender looks like to fit someone else if they can get the voice close. But I remember the Simpsons cast holding out. This is a long time ago, long ago. I think before you were born. And it was I forget what they ended up getting, but like all they were finding out how much merchandise sales were and stuff like that. It's like, we should get a piece of this. The voices are ours. Da, 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 da. So they did a bit of a meta thing where they said where people would be replaced and stuff like that. And then they had Ned Flanders come on, and wasn't Ned Flanders' voice saying, and no one would tell the diddly difference. So I wonder if there's going to be a little bit of that where you're gonna listen and stuff like that. But I think Bender's been around for so long. There's got to be someone who can put it down if he needs to. It's just that maybe the soul of it wouldn't be there. I wonder if that's going to be a problem. If Jim Maggio doesn't sign, I don't see why he wouldn't though. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, I do feel this is just a business negotiation. Like everything I read said both sides wanted him to be back, and
Right.
This is one of his most iconic characters. I don't see why everyone involved isn't pushing towards this. So I assume if it'll cost them an extra, couple $100,000 or tens of thousands, they'll say yes. And if it's more than that, they might just go with the new guy.
Yeah, I think I think it's easier to replace a voice guy, but yeah, it would suck. It would suck that I don't know. Like, for a lot of these things, a lot of voice actors and stuff can just do their stuff at home now. They they have a studio built for them. They get professional mics. You can do this at home. You can do it at home. I don't understand. I have no understanding of it, but whatever. So is this going to be back on Fox now, or is this a Netflix property still?
Hulu.
Hulu.
Yeah, Disney owns Fox, and they actually Hulu, I believe, was started by multiple different studios. Okay. And then over time, Disney has slowly been buying people out until they ended up with a majority share of Hulu. And so now,
is that the way Disney does business? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, they collect Infinity Stones. And but yes, they ended up with a controlling share of Hulu at one point, and a lot of people were kind of wondering if that was spelling the end for Hulu, if they were going to just basically shut it down, port everything of their properties over to Disney Plus. And that has kind of happened. Like, most Disney stuff will just come out on Disney Plus, but Hulu gives them a different avenue to put something down that they don't necessarily have to put the Disney name on, And even like, they are experimenting with more adult content and things like that. That Hit Monkey show that I talked about a couple weeks back, that was an adult animation. It was Marvel. There's kind of two places that could go. But if you put it on Disney Plus in the Marvel tab, you might have an 8-year-old who was just handed the remote and told, yeah, everything on Disney Plus is safe for my 8-year-old to watch. And here's this Marvel show about a monkey murderer. And like, it doesn't. And yeah, so I don't like it because I'm annoyed. I don't know when I'm going to get to watch Futurama because Hulu isn't available in Canada. I still haven't seen How I Met Your Father because that's still a few weeks away before it drops on Disney Plus. But yeah, basically, some shows have gone both routes. They go to Hulu for a little bit, they become exclusive over there, and then they pop onto Disney Plus afterwards.
And I know that the reason, I've heard the reason that there's a delay with How I Met Your Father coming over is because of dubbing rights in other countries and stuff like that. So I don't know if that would be the same kind of problem, but yeah, it would be on Star, whatever it is, that Disney Plus Star or whatever here, as soon as it would come out than if it was Hulu. Like, you would imagine they would have those things in place for a show that has to be totally voiced over, that they would have all the different dubbed languages in place before it airs. But who knows? What the hell do I know about television? I'm on the internet yapping with another Canadian about it. Yeah, no, I'm very interested to see what they would do with Futurama these days. Like, I didn't see very much. Like, I saw a bunch of the new new Futurama, the second edition Futurama 2.0. I didn't find it much more adult oriented. There was a couple of things, but they kept it fairly close to the original Futurama from what I remember. Do you think that's probably the way they're going this time, or do you think they go a little more out there?
It is curious. I could see them actually aiming more adult because, like, yes, Futurama was never vulgar, but Futurama was never for kids.
No.
Like, the Simpsons was set to be a sort of family show. But the humor in Futurama has always been very adult. They do deal with quite a few topics that, like, you would not want little children who do watch The Simpsons to be watching this. And I could honestly see it going in either direction. I don't hate one or the other. I just want it done properly. I don't want swearing for the sake of swearing.
Yeah,
this is not South Park, but also it would be kind of cool to see Futurama with some cussing, especially Bender. Like, if he gets to say more than just ass.
Yeah. If they don't need to go blue, why do it? Like, I think, like, Futurama is freaking hilarious. Plus, one of the only other, and I don't know if it's a Matt Groening thing, but of course it has a Winnipeg reference, and The Simpsons has a few. I just remember Hermes one day saying "sweet guinea pig of Winnipeg." That was one of my favorite things that was said on the show. I hope they don't go blue just for the sake of it. Like, that usually just seems lazy. If they throw one in every once in a while, just a pepper or something, I'm fine with that.
And Brooklyn Nine-Nine had the same thing, actually. I can't remember which service they went to. It might have even been Hulu. But yeah, when they moved off of it was when they moved off of Fox onto NBC, maybe?
Yeah, I think they went NBC first, then moved to Fox for a while, and then moved back to NBC.
No, Brooklyn Nine-Nine was a Fox exclusive.
Oh, I thought it was NBC first, then Fox.
No, it was Fox's Super Bowl show.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the premiere season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine very vividly, because it was one of the few series I actually started watching as it premiered, and I was like, oh, this is a cool thing, I'm gonna keep watching it. And then I watched all 5 or 7 seasons of it, whatever it came out to be in the end.
I watched I didn't see any of it till it came to Netflix, and as soon as it was on Netflix, I think the first 3 seasons dropped or something like that. Yeah, it took me a week and I had it finished. I love that.
Yeah. And when they made the switch, they also went from, like, primetime cable to a slightly better deal where they were able to use certain cuss words that they weren't allowed previous. And they show incredible restraint. And it's specifically NBC allows you to bleep cuss words.
Okay, yeah.
And they let you get away with 1 per, I think it's episode, but they went per season because they really didn't want to overdo it either, just because they were allowed now. Then, yeah, it was like watching that last season the whole time was just like, oh, who's going to get the F-bomb? Like, just watching everyone's face, and they bleep out most of them, and you're just waiting for the one that they don't censor.
we're only allowed one swear word per episode, right?
No, we're definitely allowed more because we'd be canceled about 1930 ago. A minute in, there were probably 2 cuss words. All right. So you see that
oh my god,
that Rings of Power teaser?
I did. What did you think?
I don't know. That's what I thought. Like I like the way it looks, but one thing I so much rather an actual trailer than a teaser trailer, because all this told me was what the show looks like.
Yeah, that was fine for me. That's all I needed, and I was like, well, it wasn't like we weren't gonna watch it anyways, but I really liked it. I thought there was one little bit, the part where I don't know if she's an elf, but she's hanging on to a glacier. It looks like a knife and stuff like that. That wasn't the sharpest, but everything else I thought looked fantastic. I'm really interested. And I don't know what happens. Like, I had read the Lord of the Rings books. I don't know how many times as an acid dropping kid and stuff like that when I was in high school. So I had an idea, but this is like I never read Silmarillion or any of the stuff that happens before the Fellowship of the Ring, right? Well, I read the Hobbit when I was a kid. But yeah, this is nothing to do with the Hobbit. This is nothing to do with Lord of the Rings, but it's in the same world. But I don't know how long before it is. Like I only know. Well, I guess it's when the Rings of Power are being made, right? So how many? Is it 1,000 years before? I can't remember what the voiceover.
It's vague. Yeah. And it's vaguer still in the series because I have heard that they're being more lenient with the actual history and the timeline of the Silmarillion. I've heard notes of they're kind of pushing 2 pieces together, and because that tells a bigger story to put on television if you could tell 2 plots at once. But yeah, I am curious. I believe that it could be before any rings, and I believe it could be set in the time between the initial rings and the Ring of Power being made.
Okay.
Like the One Ring was forged later. It was forged to control the original rings.
Right. So are you expecting Sauron to be like a character? Like not like a godlike thing, but no, all right.
I would be disappointed if they were. Like maybe in the last episode. But
the one who forges the Rings of Power though? He's me, the one that tricks men, tricks the elves. He's the one who makes the rings.
He corrupts them, and he is the one who makes the One Ring, which again is used to control the other ones, and only works on the rings of men because their wills were weakest. If what I'm half remembering is correct, it works on the men first and then the dwarves. The elves never quite get possessed until later once it's a whole thing. But I do know that they were corrupted, but the Rings of Power were made for another reason. I can't remember what that was. Where's Rachel Cushing? No, but I'm interested. I love the setting of Lord of the Rings, so as long as basically as long as the actors are good and the story is fun, I'm going to watch that series. It's some cool fantasy shit, and that's what I like.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll be day one. I'm looking forward. I'm probably looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to one of the other shows that got a preview during the Super Bowl.
Which one was that?
The Dragon, was it Age of Dragons? What is the Game of Thrones one that's going to
House of the Dragon?
House of the Dragon.
I actually completely missed that it had a Super Bowl teaser.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna go bananas when you see it.
Probably.
Yeah. But, with Game of Thrones, for me, you didn't know what was going to happen. And somehow I think by the end of this, the House Targaryen is going to win. At least on this show. It's all, well, but I guess the whole story is who won the House of Targaryen or whatever. Seeing how I never read the books, I don't know that much of the lore.
Okay. So I have seen that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just looking it up, and it does look like it is just drop of the same one. But I would say, to bring it back to House Targaryen is going to win and whether or not I want to see Sauron, it's the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One.
Okay.
Yeah, they could pull it off and it could look amazing, but it is one of those things that we know happens. And the Black Widow movie is another great example of that, of like, I personally think the Black Widow movie would have been amazing if we didn't know everything that was going to happen.
I love the Black Widow movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. The only disappointing thing is that it literally needed to thread this little needle here and like fall in between several already known chapters.
Sure.
So I do like, in both cases, for the Thrones show and the Rings show, Throne of the Rings. Got it? Yeah? Throne of the Rings? Anyone?
Copyrighted.
And yeah, so
it can be one of those cheap ass ones that Netflix buys just so that people click on it by accident.
That was rough, but so true. I think Netflix actually does have one. Didn't they buy Narnia?
They have
yes.
Them.
No.
Thor one. They have all kinds of stuff. They have Thor.
Yes, but right around the time that Amazon picked up Lord of the Rings, and it was the most expensive option for a TV series ever paid for. Sure. A couple weeks later, clearly because they were in the bidding war for Lord of the Rings, it was a very small news section about how like Netflix has managed to put together all of the Chronicles of Narnia books, and for a while, all 13 or so, whatever number it is, all of the IPs weren't under one house, under one roof, until recently. And then, yeah, I just saw just this tiny little story. I believe Netflix has Narnia, and they could start making that if they wanted to.
Oh, won't be tuning in. Couldn't care less.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd actually check that one out for certain things. I care less about the overall structure and really only care about very specific things within the world of Narnia. Mm-hmm. And it's the silly stuff, really, but a lot of fantasy tries to take itself too seriously, and at least Narnia knew.
I never read the books at all when I was a kid. I never even heard about them. So yeah, I don't have that pull towards it. I saw like the Lion, the Witch in the Wardrobe movie, and it was
great in French.
Oh my god!
I honestly, I didn't even speak much French when I saw it. I barely understood the movie, but the visuals, the photography in that movie are so great that I was like, yeah, I think I enjoyed that. Then I watched it in English a few years later. Reevaluating opinions. So we have one other quick news thing, but the reason I kind of pushed it back was it's only the announcement of a series. Mm-hmm. But Blade Runner 2099, Ridley Scott involved, all of that sounds exciting. Yes. I'm in for it. I'm surprised how many weird futuristic existential crises we're going to watch in pop culture very soon. And pretty much every show will either be a Black Mirror or a Squid Game or an epic fantasy.
Yeah.
Look at the doom that's coming, or escape to a fantasy in a world that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's for any kind of television. But yeah, I'd rather watch a future Doom than a current Doom. That's for sure. Were you Blade Runner fan? Like of either of the movies?
I honestly, I like them. I'm not like the biggest fan. I have seen both of them, but only once. It's not something I revisit or anything, but I did like them.
When Blade Runner came out, I think it was 1982. I think it was 8. My parents were still together, so I must have been only about 8 years old or so. I remember begging my father to take me to go see Blade Runner because Han Solo's in it, right? Han Solo's in it, and there's more spaceship looking things and stuff like that. I remember when that movie was done, just thinking to myself, what the hell was that? And that at 8 years old, I did not understand it. And it took me a very long time to watch that movie again. I was 20, I might have been 24 or 25 years old by the time I watched it again. Because I had just such a bad experience watching in the theater as a little kid. Like someone who should never, 8-year-olds should never watch the first Blade Runner. Anyway, after I watched it, it's like, fuck yeah, I get it. And I loved it. I must have watched it a dozen times by now. It's something that, used to be when it would show up on one of those movie channels or whatever. It's one of those ones where you have to just stay and watch, like a Shawshank Redemption. At any part of it, you can just stop and watch Blade Runner. And then when Blade Runner 2049 came out, I saw that in the theaters 3 or 4 times. I love Blade Runner 2049. A lot of people saying it's too long. I thought it was maybe better than the original Blade Runner. So for me, the scale keeps going up. And I don't know. I don't know if Denny new, I guess, won't be involved in it if it's going to be Ridley Scott or something like that. But I really like what he did with the world there. But I can't wait to watch more Blade Runner. And no idea what it's about. I imagine Deckard can't show up in the new television series, but who knows? They can go in a totally different way, which would be absolutely fine by me. As long as you have something in the universe, it doesn't have to touch on any of the characters that have ever been in before. Just something in the universe, and it's going to kick ass.
And yes, it executive produced by Ridley Scott, so still a chance that Villeneuve comes in and directs an episode or two.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Deadline claims Scott may direct some episodes himself. Yes.
Yep.
They're staffing their writer's room. It's not quite finished yet.
When was they expecting it to come out?
2022.
This year?
Yeah, it's the second Blade Runner TV project to see the light of day.
One of them's a cartoon show, right?
Oh, that might be the one coming in 2022 then.
Okay.
I see.
I heard
okay.
about the cartoon show, but I didn't know about the live action show. Until Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's the second one. There's an Adult Swim Crunchyroll anime series called Blade Runner Black Lotus.
Oh, right.
And this will be the first live action series based in the Blade Runner canon.
Nice.
And I'm excited. I like sci-fi shows. Especially ones that are based on the people rather than the technology, if that makes sense. And yeah,
one of the big reasons why I didn't get the first Blade Runner, it wasn't about the technology. It was just a part of it. Like everything that happened, it was just a set. It was just set dressing. It had nothing else to do with the movie, except to know that there are robots that look like people, and some of them will live. That's it. But yeah, as soon as you figure that out when you're older than 8 years old, you really enjoy what's going on.
And yeah, so I'm excited for it. I hope, honestly, I will enjoy it, I'm sure. And if I could just get more like Sarah Connor Chronicles, but set in the Blade Runner universe rather than the Terminator one, I'm here for it. Like,
I really like that show.
Yeah, that was really fun too.
Yeah.
We should actually revisit that one and talk about it sometime. They'll eventually release a Terminator movie. We'll be fine. So, shall we get into what are we watching? Because, well, for one thing, in this section, if there's anyone in the chat who has some suggestions, think them up, because our main topic today is going to be the end of Boba Fett. Our main topic next week is going to be the end of Peacemaker. And then we will be out of shows to talk about in section 2.
We'll be lost.
But we have a couple. We have Peacemaker. I watched a couple more episodes of Murderville, and we each have a couple of suggestions of our own of things that we're looking into.
Yep.
So, shall we start off with our Peacemaker, our boy Chris?
Fantastic episode.
Yeah. I'm real happy things are starting to like tick down. Everybody in the main team, I almost called them the Scoopies.
Well, essentially that's what they are.
Yeah. And so everyone on the team is on the same page. All the secrets have been revealed. It is the penultimate episode after all. I am really happy that they kind of took the time to give us 2 villains. And like they introduced our big guy, our big bad, at the beginning. We've been waiting for this alien hive for a while. And then in between is when they introduce all of the White Dragon stuff, and getting to deal with that right before it gives like Chris all of his like personal character growth. It gives him, it finally gives him a win, like a real win. And then yeah,
as much of a win as putting, this is a spoiler. You can go right here. Who gives a shit? If you're watching us and not Peacemaker, what are you doing with yourselves? Come on. Yeah, as much as you can get a win by what he does to his dad, then yeah. But did his dad have it coming? Fuck yeah, he did. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a totally Peacemaker way for it to happen. Like yeah. It was terrific. Yeah.
The one thing.
Would you have liked to seen White Dragon make it out alive in this thing? Huh? Fuck that guy.
Yeah. I thought there was a possibility that like it was going to do future setup,
Right.
And set stuff up for the future, make him a villain, make him someone else's villain even, but I like that they just dealt with it anyway. I do kind of disagree with some of what you said there. I think it's 100% a win, and like, dad or not, you got to beat up a Klans member, so
yeah.
You win.
Yeah, no. Yeah, morally, he was right to do it. But, that's...
Yeah. If anything, it making Peacemaker sad is what's
tragic, but fuck that guy.
Yeah. It making him sad is what's disappointing. If like he shouldn't have been caring that much. But yeah, I do love that. whole episode. That fight was actually really fun too.
Yep.
The funniest bit was when he does just run to the trees, and then 7 seconds later, 30 guys pop out of them. And I was like, how thick is this foliage?
It reminded me of either Star Wars or Raiders of the Lost Ark. That same kind of, well, more Raiders of the Lost Ark pick when he runs out and that guy's waiting in the airplane and stuff like that, and then he sees all the natives starting to throw their spears and stuff like that at him. That was 100% a Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of moment. What did you think about? I'm trying to draw a blank on his name. Damn it. Clemson. What did you think about what happened with Clemson there? Were you surprised or no?
Not entirely, actually. I thought it was a good chance. Like one of the two was going to happen. I figured it was either that or a double cross, and I didn't see that one coming because they had Goff in a jar for, days or weeks, and Mern didn't do anything about it. But I thought there was a chance it was like a power play, that he was trying to take control of the butterfly colony.
Yeah.
But nope, it turns out some cool stuff. He gets his ass kicked. I guess treason is punishable by death by aliens as well. So that was very fun. I like that Harcourt's in charge now.
Yes. Goff is in the detective, right?
Yes.
Not in the police captain there? Who I still
No, the police captain was just like a random one. Goff is in the lady detective, and goddamn, the dad from Riverdale.
Right? See, I remember there was a Stephen King book called was it Sleepwalkers or something like that? I remember him being in the movie like Sleepwalkers, but that was back in the early '90s. And again, a face that you see all the time, but
yeah,
didn't really place from where. I never saw the Riverdale show, so I didn't pick him up from there.
Yeah, he's Betty's dad in Riverdale. And but yeah, so that's an interesting one too. I do want to see next episode what his whole deal is, because he was questioning her and like almost showing dissent, which is interesting. We've only seen one other butterfly like go against the leader Goff so far, so I do want to see if there will be some helping of our crew next week, or if that was just a one-off scene.
Yeah. Okay. So next week, the big finale.
Yeah.
Does Peacemaker live?
I want to say yes.
Okay.
Like I think they kill off Vigilante.
Yeah, I'm thinking there has to be one of the two to go, right? Either Peacemaker or Vigilante. They can't both live.
You can have them both live, but what's her name? Leota has to die.
Ooh. Okay.
Because basically you have them both become the heroes that they need to be, and then they can't save the one good person, the one person who believed in them the whole time, the this, the that, all of that whole thing. And her sacrifice turns them into actual proper heroes, rather than just these vigilante guys who happen to be beating up the bad dudes.
And yet, you would think that would also piss her mother off if she dies, right? So that would bring it into, if they ever do make a season 2, they could have it about Amanda Waller actively coming after them instead of just putting her daughter in there to keep an eye on, kind of a thing.
Yeah. And
maybe onto something with Leona.
Yeah, and I can see. Ooh,
wake up.
That was weird.
Time
Maybe. But yes, I'm excited. I want this episode already. I believe they drop on Sundays though, so I guess I gotta wait.
Good. I think they drop earlier. I just never seem to watch it until Sunday or Monday. I thought they dropped on like Thursdays or something like that.
It's possible.
Yeah, this will be the one time I'll find out when it drops because I don't want to get spoiled. But you know, I wasn't spoiled for the other show that ended this week about anything. So, you know, I guess I'm pretty just smart about staying off of social media and stuff like that on days when these things drop, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. And just quickly, I did watch the next 2 episodes of Murderville.
Okay.
I've now seen Marshawn Lynch and I've seen Kumail Nanjiani.
Nice.
And the biggest hardest part about this show is leaving the episodes. You are correct.
Yeah, I did. I just watched them all. Bang.
Yeah. And so far, I actually haven't missed. I'm 3 for 3.
What a bragger!
And yeah, I mean, one of them was so easy. And it's the one that the guest got wrong, but still. But yeah, I have been really enjoying the show. I've been like, and yeah, like really, I only get 1 or 2 of their clues, so always in like the wrap up, I'm always just like, oh, like I'm always surprised how many hints they've given us. And I was just like, wow, like I picked up on 1 or 2 of them and I made my conviction, but shit.
It's the one thing that, frankly, that they only did 6 episodes before they started airing it, just in case, you know, if they want to have other people in their sphere or stuff like that, come on. They know what the show is going to be about now by having watched it. So they'll know, they'll pick up on the clue for this. But I guess they, you know, they tell them in the beginning to, you know, pay attention with the clues and stuff like that. So I guess these guys just, some did, some didn't. What did you think of Marshawn Lynch's comedic chops?
He was actually so great. Honestly, watching him and Kumail back to back might be the best of the series for me. Like not knowing what to expect from Marshawn and being delighted, and then knowing exactly what to expect from Kumail Nanjiani, and then him delivering.
Marshawn Lynch, you know, is not an actor, and he just went for it. He was like, he was going to have fun doing this, and he just jumped in head first. He was smart. He was right there. Like comedically, like he was fast. You don't see him thinking about anything like that. He just went with it and was friggin' great. Like you think too, things like Saturday Night Live and stuff like that, and Peyton Manning been on and funny and stuff like that. He's scripted, you know, and they practice. This was unscripted. He just went for it. This is all off the cuff for him. He had to ad lib, and he's a running back. He isn't an actor. He isn't a trained actor. He's just a running back from Oakland. But he's fantastic. He was awesome. And like to stand up there with guys like Kumail Nanjiani and stuff like that, and Conan O'Brien, and be as funny, it really says something about the talent that this guy has. If they put out, let's say, going to say, you know, we're going to do a new buddy cop show starring Marshawn Lynch, I'm in. I'm day one in. I'd love to see more of them.
Yeah. Like, give me right along.
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, I actually did know that, because
a couple times. One time they didn't run to him, and they ruined their season.
I technically knew what a running back was because in elementary school that used to be what I played during recess and lunch when we would play. We called it flag football, but it wasn't. It was flag football until the supervisor turned away. Then it was tackle football. But because I'm like a super skinny kid and I was also like a foot shorter than anybody I was playing with, I could get like under people's arms and shit. And it was also really hard to get my like flags when we had to play that way because of how quickly I could turn away. So I actually do remember the running back position because that's the one I did.
Also, you didn't have to have it thrown to you. You just had to given it.
Yeah, it was essentially, it was handed to me. I never had to throw or kick the football. Because I mean, I'm also, built the way a kicker would be, but kicking is actually hard.
So who do
Not
you
that
have
not
left?
that playing a running back in the NFL isn't hard. I mean, obviously getting hit by those guys is the hardest job you could ask someone to do, but
Well, he hit just as hard. He is a big dude, and
yeah.
he has the momentum running for it. He's a yeah. There's a couple of he has a real famous run in the NFL where he just kind of grabs a guy from New Orleans and plants him while he's running. Doesn't stop. He's there.
Yeah.
Jim Greer. Oh my god. So who do you have left? You have Sharon Stone left. You have Ken
Hmm.
Jeong. And who
Yes.
else there was one that I
Sharon
got
Stone is the next episode. Ken Jeong, I'm not sure when it is
the last
exactly.
one. I just can't
Uh,
remember what the fifth one was.
Not sure
Anyway,
yet.
in a way, I wish I was like you and could have spaced them out a little bit, but I'm glad I just watched them all. I had a great time every episode. I have a great
Yeah.
time going back and watching episodes. That's one
And
good
yeah.
thing. If you don't get it, it's a rewatchable show. That's for sure. Especially the
So
modern one.
speaking of
Oh,
other
and
things to
Murphy.
watch,
Well, I'm a Canadian, right? God damn it! How dare we?
of course.
Shit.
And yeah, so since, as we were talking about, we are running out of shows to cover in section 2,
Mm-hmm.
I do believe you mentioned you watched the first episode of Bel Air.
I did. I watched it today. I've been looking forward to it since that trailer dropped. I don't know. Should I hold back on what I think until you start watching it? Do you
I
want me
mean, go
to?
ahead and say like what you thought of it.
All right. I've been reading
Especially the first episode. It's
the
the same
pilot
premise of the
episode.
first.
Yeah, the pilot. I'm not ever a huge fan of pilot episodes. It's what the show will be built up, 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 up. It's like because it has to get sold, right?
Mm.
So there's a lot more to a pilot episode than there is to a regular series episode. I'll say this: I know that a lot of people are really hammering the show for whatever reason, but I really like it. And some of the things that I was afraid of most, I like more than I thought. The guy who plays Uncle Phil, for instance, is fantastic.
Mm.
I like if you listen to the theme song from the old one, you basically get what's going on. Of course, there's a more dramatic way the fight happens and stuff like that, and I think the way he gets to Bel Air may be a little goofy, but I think they're explaining it better now than they did in the TV show. And if you remember, sorry, in the sitcom, if you remember in the sitcom, his mother is mentioned like 3 times. I think she shows up on the show twice in 5 years. But
Mm-hmm.
again, there in the beginning of the show, he's calling her and stuff like that in the middle of the show. I like how they introduced Jazz. Just call him Jazz so far, or whatever. Not Jazzy Jeff or whatever, but He also has buddies back in Philadelphia that he had to leave behind and stuff like that, and there's drama there. The kid that's playing Will has so much charisma. You're like, yeah, I get it. It's like it's like the character's name's Will Smith, so it's going to be in your head or whatever. That's Will Smith. But like if you could imagine Will Smith at that age playing that role dramatically, I think that's as close as you can get is with this kid. Who else? The Hillary character, instead of making her just a ditz, she's some kind of influencer that wants to be a YouTube chef and stuff like that. So that's a little better. The Carlton is completely different. Well, still the same kind of nerdy and stuff like that, but when you watch it, you'll understand. And this is where a lot of people are going to complain about it. Is Carlton? It's like, but you know what? You can't have the TV show. You can't have the sitcom. This is a drama. So there has to be some dramatic elements to it, and it has to be in the family. So it has to be like the two people that are going to be the most different, which is Carlton and Will. And the Aunt Viv or whatever is Aunt Viv, I think it'd be super funny and 100% meta if they, in like the second or third season, just replace her with a different actress.
That actually would be too funny.
Yeah. And then, she should be watching her job real close. The new Jeffrey is so much like the old Jeffrey, except for more hair.
I would have cast a twin for Aunt Viv, and then like 2 seasons in, you just replace her with the other one. Yeah. So technically, yes, we did change the actress, but we didn't really change.
I am in on this series for sure. I believe that'll be airing on Monday nights here in Canada. I think in the States, 3 episodes they did that 3-episode drop.
Three episodes are out. Yeah, the next one comes out, which is interesting. I was just watching, like, reading up on that.
Well, that's like that Amazon rule of whatever, drop 3, right?
But, like their 4th episode comes out this Thursday.
Oh, is it Thursday?
And ours, yes, it's Thursday on Peacock.
Right.
Monday. Thursday on Peacock, Monday on Showcase.
Okay, so so I can watch it and have it fresh in my head because I'll be able to watch it just before we start the show.
So Canada doesn't get episode 4 until March 7th, which is 18 days after the US will get episode 4. So I suggest VPN. Especially if we're gonna start watching all these crazy Peacock shows. I'm definitely gonna be looking into one at some point.
Oh
and so I really do want to watch this. I hope that it is like some serious stuff, but also having fun with it. I don't expect it to be as crazy as like a Euphoria, obviously, but I would like them to actually tackle some real issues and things like that, and it looks like they're going to. Even from the trailer, it seemed like that's what they were promising. So
okay,
I can't wait to find out.
I think I just have a feeling it's going to be so close to what the original show was, but with that dramatic spin on it and stuff. I don't see any bottle episodes happening for this. It's good. Watch the first episode, and then we can talk about the first episode in a little more detail. I don't want to just go through the whole thing for you. But and it looks like critics are kind of split on it. I really like it. I hope that it gets toned down a little tiny bit. Not too much or whatever, just a little tiny bit. It seemed like everybody's really amped or whatever in this first one, and then we'll see what episodes 2 and 3 bring for sure.
Awesome. So we're getting into our third section. Also, if anybody in the chat, you guys have other suggestions, we suggested both Bel Air because it's dropping now. I brought up the possibility of maybe watching Inventing Anna, which is a show about that teenager who pretends to be a German heiress to convince a bunch of like fashion labels and hotels and all sorts of shit to give her a bunch of free stuff, and she just kind of cons her way through a bunch of different states in the US and makes a lot of people very, very angry, and then she goes to prison for it. And yeah, I have been. It's not a spoiler, that happens in real life before the series was made.
Guys, also the Titanic sinks. There.
The actress met her in prison so she could like learn the accent. Because apparently this girl Anna had like a strange Russian, German, French. It was like a blend of a bunch of different accents that was very, very interesting sounding.
Is it in the same
Titanic size spoilers?
Is it in the same vein as like a Catch Me If You Can though? Does she, or she's just a one person and just has to keep moving around all the time? Like doesn't keep changing her identity at all?
No, she kind of sticks to the same one, even as everything is coming down around her. She does just try and keep convincing everybody that she is who she's claiming she is, and that if they don't know who it is, it's because her rich family doesn't give all of this information to the public, essentially. I think that's her argument most of the time. But yeah, the show does have, or at least her story does, I expect the show to have bits and pieces of people who confront her with this, and they're like, no, we know you're lying to us, and some people just couldn't do anything about it.
And what network is this on?
It's on Netflix.
So
I believe the entire series, it's a mini-series, 7 or so episodes, and I believe all of it dropped last Friday, on my birthday, actually.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And then, yes.
Birthday again.
We have our final section, where the title of this episode is called There's a Monster at the End of This Book. That book that I refer to is the Book of Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
And much like Boba Fett did in this episode, I figured we needed to call in some friends.
Oh boy.
So we have our show's very own Baby Yoda, the pilot. Really, literally, he pilots this show because neither of us do it. I don't press play. Do you press play, Rob?
Give me a fucking break. Oh my
All right. So we've got our pilot, our force user, our Grogu. Are you coming?
Oh, like you didn't say my name. I was confused.
I know.
Adorable.
I'm sorry.
Oh, look at you.
It's Dave.
Look at those ears. Oh, he's sleeping again.
I'm just here to answer Star Wars questions.
Oh boy.
All right. So
happy to be on the show, guys.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How does the Sarlacc pick almost take down Slave One and doesn't take down Lando Calrissian?
Lando never skips leg days in space.
You're right. You got it exactly correct. Yeah. That ship had been sitting in dry dock for how goddamn long? Got fat and lazy.
Exactly. Not Lando. He's doing those subs every day.
Mm-hmm.
Space subs.
He gets it. You know.
I feel like exercising in space is an exercise in futility?
Clearly not. He didn't get eaten by the Sarlacc pit, dummy.
But there's no weight.
I guess it.
It's all resistance band.
Exactly. But Boba Fett.
Yes. Goddamn 2 jetpacks. I was so happy to see 2 jetpacks.
That was really cool because that's something that you could get in like video games and stuff when you're playing like Battlefront and you and your buddy are playing as like jet troopers or something. But because of when Jango died and because Mando doesn't learn how to use his jetpack until all the other Mandalorians are dead, we've never got a chance to see in live action these 2 just like experts in their craft just going at it and flying around. Like, it looked weird sometimes, but I think for the most part it just looked fluid and it looked great and exactly how I wanted it to.
Yeah, I think one thing you can't say is that the Book of Boba Fett didn't look great. There was so much stuff in there that just visually looked amazing considering you're putting this on television. You're giving them, 3.5 hours. What is it? Oh, almost 6 hours worth of entertainment or whatever, and the same kind of quality you give to a motion picture and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of it was sand, which makes it easy.
I hate sand personally. It's rough, it's coarse, it gets everywhere. But
hey, I understood that reference.
But I really did like this episode, and if you look closely, you'll notice Boba Fett, who first appeared in Empire Strikes Back, made a cameo in this episode of The Mandalorian.
What? When?
What?
I was even leading into it's been a running joke in our house until the finale is Boba Fett going to show up in this episode? And then when he showed up and didn't get a line, it's like, will he get more than 3 lines in the finale of his show? And during the like pre-roll, I was concerned. I was like, they're showing a lot of Mando. Is Boba Fett not going to get to talk in the Boba Fett finale? And I got to say, I was pleasantly surprised with everything that he did, especially as a longtime Clone Wars fan, getting to see some of that
speech.
Yeah.
And that was very fun. That whole speech with him and Cad Bane and a bunch of history that I only half remember. But
well, to fill in that history for you,
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Cad Bane, and this is actually a storyline from a deleted series of episodes from the original run of Clone Wars before Disney brought it back, where Cad Bane was good friends with Jango Fett. And after Jango Fett's untimely death at the hands of Mace Windu, started raising Boba Fett to be be the best bounty hunter. So eventually he could kill Boba Fett and prove that he was better than Jango Fett.
Okay.
And in that, you can find these animatics online because it was like halfway through pre-production. They have essentially that same duel that they had in the episode, except it's an exact tie, and that's how Boba Fett gets the dent in his armor is from Cad Bane shooting him when he was a kid.
Jeez, what a nice fella. So were you pretty amped? Like, I had no frame of reference. When you see him coming up to, what's his name? Vance, the sheriff there?
Cobb Vanth, yeah.
Cobb Vanth. So when you saw that shadow starting to walk up, did you know who that was?
You see his big dumb hat, and I love that we're in the era of entertainment where you get big dumb hats and things. I knew exactly. I was like, that's my boy. That's my blue boy, Cad Bane. I love him. Love that they brought back the original voice actor to do his voice.
That was going to be my next question. Like, is that the same voice?
That's the same voice, and the look is very similar. His hat's a little smaller, and he doesn't have a toothpick, but that's it.
Okay.
It's Charles and Eric. I was trying to figure out, like, what was it that And the scene of them talking reminded me so much of Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, and without a single word spoken between them. In the first 10 seconds of them being on screen together, you can see that they have such an actual history and an entire lifetime of, well, love and hatred at the same time. And I was trying to figure out, like, what was it about those two guys that was striking me, and it's, yeah, they are Professor X and Magneto, and like as soon as they're on screen together, I was like, okay, this is intense.
Yeah, I had no frame of reference, so I just figured it's like, oh, like they've heard each other from being bounty hunters or something like that. So and it looked like 100% just a Western to me. Like, this is a showdown that's going to happen, guys. Like, was it 12 O'Clock High or whatever it is? Those kind of old school 50s style Westerns.
Well, he was, Cad Bane was originally styled after, what's his name from The Good and the Bad and the Ugly? The Man in the Black Hat in that one. Yeah. Yeah, he was originally styled to be exactly that character, but in Star Wars.
A man with no name. All right.
Yeah, it was really cool. What did you guys think of, like, how much, or what do you guys think of everyone getting involved and like the crime families turning on Boba Fett after they agreed to stay neutral?
I'm fine with that. Like, yeah, I think you go where the money is. I think Boba Fett hasn't shown that he's willing to be, like, you can say you're going to be partners, and then these guys are saying, we can give you all this money if you let the spice trade go through here. And they're like, fuck yeah, fuck this fucking guy. Get him out. So, yeah, I 100% understand. Like, what's Boba Fett doing for them? That's all I can think of. Everybody's trying to be too goddamn nice, and so, like super sweet Boba Fett is like, that's not how we do business. We kill people so that we can make money.
Yeah. To that end, it was even interesting seeing that Boba was like, because is he even a crime lord anymore, or does he just want to be mayor of this town?
Yeah, exactly.
Because Mando comes in and he's like, hey, we're not going to do drugs anymore. And Bo was like, that sounds good. And Ming-Na Wen's character, Fennec Shand, there we go. Fennec Shand.
I remember.
Always be Mulan to me, but that's fine. She's like, there's so much money in that, and the fact that he's able to say, no, we're not going to do that, it's for the good of the town. Should he just have, he went for it all wrong? Should Boba have just run for public office?
Yeah.
Well, see, no. And I did just have to Google it just to make sure, because he's not a crime boss. He's a feudal lord. Yes. And so some of them are better than others. And like the political structure, the civic duty of being mayor is required, even if there is a feudal lord. But it's...
Now, my only pushback to that, Daniel, would be episode 1 literally is like, you're the mayor, I'm the crime lord.
Yeah, he said it.
He says, I'm a crime lord.
Yes, again, he is a crime lord. He took over a crime empire, but he's not he is a political figure, but he's a political figure who owns things. He doesn't run for office. That is. He doesn't need to run for office. It's his by rights.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I really liked all that. Did not like seeing my Gamorrean boys go out though. Like, they were the only casualties in all of this.
That was really rough.
I never had like an affinity towards them. It's like, if those are the two they're getting rid of, like, bye.
Oh yeah. Like,
I mean, honestly, I didn't care until they pushed them off a cliff.
Yeah, that was it for me.
That was really hard.
That was it for me.
In Return of the Jedi, I remember seeing one getting bitten in half. Like a so that these guys got to just fall isn't so bad.
But they fell for so long.
They didn't show the impact. No, that would have been something.
I thought for sure, because the scene right before they all get turned on is when Grogu shows up in Mos Eisley. Right. And I was like, oh man, is Grogu going to catch these pig boys? Is that what's going to happen? Because like that's what storytelling would do, make me believe. But then immediately, because you see the Trandoshans attacking Black Chrysanthemum, and then it goes to the pigs getting pushed, the Gamorrean guards. I'm sorry, I'll keep my nerd card. The Gamorrean guards getting pushed off. The moment I saw them fall, I was like, oh, thank God, Chrysanthemum's okay. They wouldn't kill both of the two-thirds.
I thought he was a goner for sure. I thought that's they're just going to kill off.
You can't kill Chrysanthemum like that.
Am I the only one who was referring to the Gamorreans as Phil and Lil?
Yeah, I had no basis for Black Chrysanthemum before. Like I know he was a guy from the cartoons, but that's as far as I know.
Not only, he's actually not even from the cartoons. He is from the comics.
Okay.
Him and similar. This is just like Boba Fett and all his friends, because him and Boba Fett were like Jabba's two best guys during the Galactic Civil War. Like they were buddies.
Okay.
And that's why, like, he calls him, I can't remember exactly what he calls him. He calls him something different than Chrysanthemum when he's
Santo.
addressed. Yeah, he calls him Santo. And it's like, oh, yeah, look at that. They got that familiarity between them.
Yeah. Speaking of, because we mentioned earlier about the Gamorrean being eaten in half, and I promised a monster at the end of this book. Oh man, that was so cool. The Rancor, literally scaling towers and eating people, and as soon as it shows up, I literally sat there for the rest of the episode with a smile on my face. I mean, there was that 1 second where I thought it might die, and then I was terrified. But I was just giddy from the moment the Rancor showed up till the end of the ep.
I was just hoping Machete would have shown up again too.
I really thought Danny Trejo was gonna, because we've never seen Boba like practicing to ride it, so I thought he wasn't gonna be able to do it, and like Danny Trejo was gonna come. But then I thought, if you show us Danny Trejo, he's going to die so that Boba can ride the Rancor. This way, Danny Trejo is alive. He can wield the Darksaber. He's a Mandalorian now. We all know that. Confirmed. Now, I will say to Daniel's, had a smile on my face. I did until he killed the first one. And then I was like, oh, okay, they're going to, cool, like Grogu or the townspeople are going to kill the other one. And then we just watched him do like the same thing again.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, and that brings you to a couple of things about the fight itself. Why did they stick behind the car? Why didn't they go back into the hotel?
Because once you're in there, you can't go anywhere else.
Well, I'd rather take my chance trying to get out from behind that thing than just everybody stooped underneath one car.
No, because like Rob, not to get tactical on you, but like
there's two strategies in Nazi zombies. You either play in the bar and you last 5 rounds, or you run the route of the town and you last 40.
Yeah. I think you get all those guys in there, you throw a couple thermal. It would be like it'd be like in the end of Mandalorian season 1, where they just set the whole bar on fire, and if it wasn't for Baby Yoda being like, they all would have died.
Also, yeah. I was bitterly upset that there was 0 Tusken Raiders that show up in that fight.
Me too. I thought for sure when Boba left, because I'd kind of forgotten about the Rancor, I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, is he going to get the Tuskens? And I'm like, did he like bro down with a couple of them, and that's why we haven't seen him for 2 episodes?
He knows their sign language.
He does, and Mando's tight with the Tuskens. Like it's such an easy get, and that's something that I think because I personally I really liked all his time with the Tuskens. I think
my favorite part. It was my favorite part of the first 5 or 6 episodes or whatever it was until Mandalorian showed up, and then not the Boba Fett show anymore.
Yeah, I really wish there had been more Tusken stuff.
Yeah,
and if like honestly, and it sucks because I don't know how you would have done it, because I don't know that you can say, and then he went and found another Tusken family, and then he left, but now he's going back to get them.
Yeah, that is kind of my problem with that. Is like, I think one of the reasons that all of us want more Tuskens is because they did it right. They had them long enough for us all to fall in love, then they massacred them all and turned us against the bad guys in a second. And all we wanted was for Boba Fett to be reunited with them eventually down the road. And I guess sometimes just nice things don't happen because those people were massacred.
But there's gotta be more than just that one tribe of Tuskens, though, right?
Yeah,
all kinds.
Yeah, but we don't know if they're on good terms with Boba or even the tribe that he hung out with. Like,
but we at least know that there's one tribe that Mando's cool with, and like to that point, like when the townspeople showed up, I was like, oh my god, it's the Tuskens, and I was like, oh no, they're all dead. I really, but to that end, I really did like the townspeople coming in.
Yeah.
Because I think it showed a really cool dichotomy between them and the mods. Like you got a little bit of that like classism of like city folk versus farm folk kind of peppered in there just enough without being overbearing.
Speaking of mods, let's talk about one of the most controversial moments in not only just the history of Star Wars, but maybe the history of Western civilization. And that guy giving a spin before he shoots his damn gun. Is that one of the worst moments of your life, Dave?
I, when I was a kid, I broke my arm. Bone came right out. It was awful. And this, honestly, this ruined my childhood. Honestly, it's the worst thing that could have ever happened in Star Wars or fiction or life. Honestly, like I don't know how this man is not in jail. I don't know how Robert Rodriguez isn't in jail. I don't know how John Favreau. No, I don't care about the spin.
Shit.
Who cares?
Oh, it's freaking Star Wars. That's that's
I literally don't even know what you're talking about.
Daniel, get the fuck on.
My gosh. One of the mods, they're fighting or whatever, and he pulls his gun out and he spins to shoot at somebody. And all the nerds have blown up, crazy crying and stuff like that. They want to have Robert Rodriguez hung in the court square at 2:00 in the afternoon. Like, it's unbelievable how much shit those fucking people are crying about. It's getting to shoot a gun in Star Wars.
And I'll say, after rewatching, because I've watched the finale twice now.
Oh boy, what a bragger.
I think, I have more time on my hands. You're like a real adult, Rob.
You're telling him now?
Yeah. So eyeball mod is who I kept thinking was going to die the entire time.
Yeah.
He has to get low so that BK can bring his big gun that he's got over to shoot at the thing. So like, this was a tactical spin. This was a good story reason spin.
I honestly, when that happened, it never crossed my mind that anybody would start crying over this thing. 100%, it was nothing. It's Star Wars. It's like, okay, I get it, whatever. And I couldn't
Also,
believe that next day when I saw all these people going nuts about that particular thing. It's like, oh my God. That is the least of the things you have to worry about what's happening in the show and stuff like that. They made the entire, like, the guy who's the show is named after not say anything for basically 2.5 episodes. He wasn't even in one. I couldn't
so
believe
I'm actually, now that I went and looked up a GIF of this, I will actually argue fully with what Dave has been sarcastically saying.
it.
It actually 100% is a tactical spin.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, he starts again. Wait. Let me tell you. Chrysanthemum is facing forward.
Yeah.
And he's actually facing slightly right of Chrysanthemum. And he forms a clockwise turn so that he eventually is looking in the same direction as Chrysanthemum. All of this is true. What he's doing is checking their 6. Like, he literally looks in every line of sight that Chrysanthemum is not looking in, and then eventually comes back to the position that Chrysanthemum is looking in and continues firing his gun.
Here's the
He
thing.
literally, all he was doing a turn to make sure that they're not being shot in the back.
It looked like Star Wars. That's all I give a shit. It looked like Star Wars. Who cares?
Yeah, he's force sensitive. That's why it was so fast and like reflexive.
Oh my God. So, what were you guys like overall thoughts on the show? Like now that it's all concluded, I'm especially excited to hear Dan's thoughts because I believe 2 episodes ago you were like, I haven't even seen The Mandalorian. So I'm like, what did this mean to you? So, Rob,
it was actually dope.
Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, it made me want to watch The Mandalorian. And also made me convinced that, like, one of my problems with it originally was how slow it was. But then Boba Fett started very, very slow, and I loved every minute of it. So maybe going back and checking out Mando, knowing I'm going to love it once everybody is fully realized, it could be different. Or I might skip 3 episodes and just start from episode 4 and watch Mando from there.
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
But what about, so that's your thoughts about if you'll watch Mando, but what did you think about Boba Fett now that's all wrapped up?
I really liked it. I don't know. Again, I'd love to talk to some Star Wars people, and really this would be a whole show. This would be a whole show, Rob. And
Thanks, Rob.
Mostly about like why, like, certain things that were or weren't canon, what used to be Legends, what is Legends, what blah blah blah. Like, there are little minutia that I might have nitpicks with if I knew more, but not knowing anything and taking this as its own continuity that exists on its own, I loved all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm a Star Wars guy. Look, hold on. I got Darth Vader slippers. Anyway,
I've got
for a second I thought that was Darth Vader in a toque, and
I've got a
like,
cool
oh
Empire
my God.
Strikes Back poster.
Oh my gosh, it's Grogu. It's a little Grogu. Just kidding.
It's a big old Grogu.
Oh my God! Wow, big. I like the Book of Boba Fett. I would have preferred maybe just Mandalorian season 3. I think they could have gotten some stuff done. I like Boba Fett as a character that shows up, maybe not the main character. I don't know if they built the world on Tatooine that I need to see any more of. But if they do a thing where it's like they're gonna blow Tatooine apart and stuff like that. Maybe I'm just tired of Tatooine. Tatooine just keeps showing up in places.
Well, you'll see more of it in May.
Oh
yeah. Kenobi.
I personally, I really liked, once I realized that the Book of Boba Fett was not really a book of Boba Fett, and it was more a primer for whatever the eventual crossover show event that they're calling it is going to be in like 4 years. And this is just like to set up where Boba is in that. I really came to terms with that.
Is that what they're doing?
Well, yeah, at Disney Plus Day last year when they announced like all the Star Wars show, this is why I'm on the show. They said they were like, and we're really excited. Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, Rangers of New Republic. Oops, Gina Carano is racist. Can't have that. All of these are going to build and build, and they're going to be shared and sharing characters, and they're all going to build into like an event series, which I assume will be like the retaking of Mandalore, which is where we'll deal with like spoilers for people who haven't seen Rebels yet, the Grand Admiral Thrawn and all that.
I know about that guy from the books in the 90s, so I know who he is, and I knew that he was on your cartoon shows and stuff like that. But
that's so demeaning, Rob.
I don't know. Sorry, which one? I can't remember what it's called. Clone Wars?
No, he's on Rebels. He's
Rebels. Okay.
Yeah, no, he after spoilers again, after like they reintroduce Maul and stuff, and they are kind of wrap up the Inquisitor storyline. They're like, we need a new big bad, and it's Thrawn, and he is fantastic. He is just because I read all those books too when I was younger.
Yeah, and
he is just as good as he was back then.
Spoiler alert, guys! I know how Chewbacca dies.
Gets killed by a moon.
Fucking ridiculous. Anyway,
but yeah, I think so. But to that point, I think in the Thrawn books, there was like a criminal organization that helped the rebels fighting Thrawn. I think they're setting up Boba Fett to fill that role that criminal element had in the books. And once I came to terms with that, I was like, okay, so this is really just like the abridged version, not the abridged, this is the lengthy version of here's who these guys are. Little passage in a Shakespeare book.
So what was that? Was it Shadows of the Empire? Was that what the 3 books were called? The Shadows of the Empire trilogy with Thrawn?
I think so.
They're setting up something like that where they can set up Thrawn as like the new kind of Vader / Grand Moff Tarkin kind of character.
Yeah, it was Shadows of the Empire, and then it was also the Rogue Squadron series of games. I can't tell if so like Thrawn was all over the place, and now he's back.
Okay,
so he was back, and now he's gone, but now he's back again.
I was expecting like a cutscene or something like that to maybe show like the white suit or something like that, like him on a spaceship or whatever at the end or whatever, just kind of like they did with Thanos at the end of Avengers, the first Avengers movie.
Well, I think the problem with that is you then have to cast Thrawn.
They don't have to cast a white suit. That's all I think. Just
they don't, but I
kind of a thing.
Yeah, because I think as a Rebels guy, I think I forget his name, so I'm just gonna call him Mads Mikkelsen's brother, who does the voice. He's the voice of Thrawn. Is Mads Mikkelsen's brother. I feel bad that I don't remember his name. He also is like
Mads
a small.
Mikkelsen?
It's something not unsimilar to that, Daniel.
Unbelievable.
Thrawn.
Where were we?
Like, if it's not him, a lot of Rebels fans are going to be pissed off.
Right.
So I would Lars Mikkelsen. There we go.
Yeah, Ben Bateman would have got that.
But I think having to cast him would have been tough. But who knows? Maybe he shows up in the Ahsoka series, and everything I've just said for the last 20 minutes has been a waste of time.
Okay. But do you see a way that Thrawn would be in the Kenobi series coming up? I don't understand how.
No, because I think that happens.
That has to be between Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars, right?
Well, yeah, I actually think that the Kenobi series, I think they've said happens like I don't know. It's tough because we don't know exactly. So Thrawn is either because he is not there. Thrawn is gone by the time of A New Hope,
Right?
And then he's doing now sequel series stuff because we know in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka shouts him out. It's like, "Where's Thrawn?"
Yes, that's true.
So we know Thrawn is still alive, but he's just not in the original trilogy. So I don't think he'd be in Kenobi. I think Kenobi's going to be its own self-contained thing.
Right.
But I guarantee he'll show up in probably Mando season 3 or something.
Okay. So,
yeah, it seems you got to. And also, yeah, this does mention, I was just looking for an article trying to figure out if there was another show that looped into all of that.
Okay.
It was the Rangers of the New Republic, but that got canned.
Yeah, and the Cassian Andor show takes place before, so does Bad Batch. So, yeah. Basically, we're looking for Mando season 3 or Ahsoka for Thrawn's appearance. But likely appearance in Mando and then becomes a more recurring villain in Ahsoka. And then is the bad guy of the team up thing.
Yeah.
The Defenders, we'll call it.
Defenders of the New Republic. Yeah, I like it.
Disney could do that. They have the rights to the name The Defenders now.
Well, we got to wait till the end of the month after all that stuff leaves Netflix.
Yes.
It hasn't quite left yet.
I'm calling Boba Fett for Iron Fist.
Don't put that evil on him. Don't.
Not Black Krrsantan?
No, he was cool.
Because he literally uses knuckles.
That's not right. Was he cast? Who was he? Okay. Anyway, I'm looking that up, but I really enjoyed Boba Fett at the end of the day.
Yeah, like I enjoyed it. It was watching Star Wars. You got to watch Star Wars for 7 hours.
Do you guys want
Rina Massoud and Lars Mikkelsen are set to portray Ezra and Thrawn respectively on the Ahsoka Disney Plus series.
Oh, they actually cast Lars Mikkelsen? Wow. Okay, cool. Good.
Okay,
cool. Hey, that's exciting. Yay.
Yeah.
Do you guys want I guess like the final thing I would say about Boba Fett is, do you guys want a season 2?
No. I don't, but I don't want to be done with the world. Like I would love it if it shows up some other way and stuff like that. Like it showed Mandalorian show up for 2 episodes in the Book of Boba Fett. I don't understand why we can't have Boba Fett show up every once in a while in the Mandalorian or something like that. Just so like if there's we know another piece of going on for it. But I just don't see a need to have 7 more episodes of this. At least 7 more episodes of this. I don't understand that they win. So
even I feel essentially the same way. I think like what we got was very cool, and most of what I was saying a few weeks ago belongs in season 2. We got in that finale episode anyway. Mm-hmm. We got the resolution with the other families, and I figured like it was because there's the turn and the desertion and all of that. I figured that could be a season 2 of them going further and like the rising tensions with the other families that are around now. And then, there are the other towns and stuff like that, but none of that is incredibly important. What was important to the story has been told now, and we can just use it as a set piece in later series.
I would really like, and I know we're done with Tatooine, but I would love to see it just Jabba's palace become like Mando's headquarters, and it's just like Jabba's like Mando's landlord now. Or not Jabba, yeah, Boba's just Mando's landlord.
I could see like something along those lines of when they eventually go to take. I can see Mos Eisley being the base of operations when they're taking down Thrawn. Like it's a spot in that they can is the one spot they could say is their territory, you know?
I can also see Boba replacing Mando because in the Mandalorian episodes we got this season, the armor's like, oh yes, and the great Mandalore will ride the mighty mythosaur and blah 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 blah. But that's only in legend. And then Boba's riding that Rancor, like, all no big deal. And then Mando, he tries to get on that, and it's like, no, bitch, not you.
Mm.
So you're saying it pays to pay attention?
It does, you know. You pay attention. I'm looking for everything. I'm looking for, is my blue boy Cad Bane really dead? Probably, but yeah.
I don't think so. That's the one thing that happened when that happened and stuff like that. It was like that guy looked like Darth Vader. Like he had all the tubes and stuff like that coming out his back and shit.
Well,
that guy's mostly probably a robot or whatever. He probably just shut himself down and tricked these guys, and then he'll be fine.
Nah, like he's dead. Here's how you know, Rob. When we're watching the show, I say to my wife, he can survive that as long as they don't show a slow pan up his body into his face with his hat lying next to him. And as I finish saying that, that's the shot.
Are you saying that Boba Fetted Cad Bane?
No, because Cad Bane
and then kill him off 2 episodes later.
No, because Cad Bane's been awesome, and he showed up in the Bad Batch last year also, and like he can still. Fucking Cad Bane could show up in Kenobi, and I'm not going to be mad. So
right. I knew Cad Bane was dead when Boba looked at the stick.
Yeah.
Like, not before he took it out. When he's laying on the ground and he looks over his shoulder and he sees the staff, I was just like, oh yeah, dude's done. That was really cool too. Just
bring it back.
They spent 4 episodes just so that Boba Fett could defeat this guy with a stick instead of with a gun, because they pointed out how good Cad Bane is in a gunfight.
And he won the gunfight.
Yes, he did. Well, he cheated. You cheated.
No,
yeah, that's fine. What do you want? Do you want a second chapter to the book of Boba Fett?
I think when I asked that question, I did. But now I'm down for Boba either taking on being Mandalore or taking on being Mando's landlord.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because
maybe he's both. He's going to move all of the Mandalorians into his city, and they're going to recreate.
Now, I would love... The only reason I would want a season 2 would be because Ming-Na Wen and Fennec Shan are so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like she gets that awesome, like anytime someone dies off camera, it's like, it was Fennec. It was Fennec. And she never betrayed him, which I was expecting her to do the entire time. But anyway, Daniel, we're running up against your time, I just saw.
Yep. I've been watching. Don't worry.
Sorry, I got going. But the only reason I would want a season 2 is to see more of Fennec Shand.
Well, maybe that's a character they can sprinkle in and stuff like that as well. She started on Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Then to Boba Fett. Maybe she can keep bouncing on to all these other shows too. Maybe she can be the thread that ties everything together.
Maybe. Daniel, I know we got to wrap up.
Yeah, it's still upsetting that there are literally, like, because they were able to frickin' Din was able to fly to whatever planet Luke and Grogu are on, then fly back. Then Grogu was also able to fly from that planet before the battle started. And a bunch of other people are flying back and forth between this planet. Ahsoka did it as well at a different time from all the other ones. There were at least 5 Jedi, or we'll just call them lightsaber users. There were at least 5 of them within 10 steps of this battle. And it's like, not one. But yes, yeah. I had so much. I really did have a lot of fun watching that series, and yeah, it was a lot more than a lot more and a lot less than I was expecting. And yeah, I just, as I said, like I don't know if I would want more unless they have a story to tell. I liked that they had a story to tell here. It's not it doesn't move the needle one way or the other. I very much enjoyed it, and it fleshes out a world that I like.
Watch The Mandalorian.
For sure.
Well, yes, I have heard that one actually has a much bigger, more grand plot and everything. But then that runs the risk of not being as good. One of the cool things I liked about Boba Fett is it was so simplistic. It just was what it needed to be, and then it was over. And I'm happy with that.
Awesome.
All right, so as we are heading out of here, where can everybody find you, Dave?
You can find me right here at Group of North producing this show, and special announcement for once I actually have something to plug. This Sunday we will be debuting a new specialty show called Northern Rankings, or Rankings of the North. Haven't decided on the name 100% yet, where we will be ranking all the Batman movies, but we won't be doing it ourselves. We tweeted out a survey to that all of you wonderful people can fill out to help us come up with the most definitive Batman rankings ever, scientifically proven. I'm gonna have some special guests on to talk about Batman. It will be in the Northern Unwind time slot this Sunday. And look at that. There's the thumbnail. Look at that. So pretty. And that's where you can find me.
Awesome.
So
fill out that survey if you haven't.
That one does say Northern Rankings, but if I could make one argument for Rankings of the North, it does have the acronym ROTN, which is Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, well, can't do that.
But yeah, as soon as you said ROTN, I was like, wait a minute, that's already a movie ranking.
Fair.
But yeah, Rob, where can the people find you?
You can find me here every Tuesday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, talking television with you good people. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on a show called The Squared Slice here on this very network, talking wrestling and talking in particular old school wrestling. We're talking AWA wrestling. We're talking about territorial wrestling. And I know I look like I'm only 17 years old, but I'm in reality, guys, 23 years old. Don't tell anybody.
And Dan?
Yes. Yes, I can also be found all around all of our Northern Entertainment group, our Facebook group, our YouTube page, our Twitter space, all of that. I can be found personally on Twitter at Corrupted Canuck down here. That's corrupted with a K, not a C. And you can find me in the next few weeks ramping up to start covering some Schmodown. Yeah, the Schmodown comes back. That's this week too? Oh man, so many TV shows. I'm not sure if it's this week or next week for the pay-per-view. I thought it was.
I think it's next week.
February 26th.
Must have been last year. It was the mid-Feb. I was like, I thought it was the 18th. Okay. Doesn't matter too much. I'm excited for that. I can't wait to see Kevin Smets play again. Honestly, that is the thing I've been looking forward to most in 2022.
Daniel, don't try and deny it. You're most excited that the Wild Berries are back. And they're back.
Yes, absolutely.
At this pay-per-view.
Wild Bears.
I couldn't be more excited.
Unless your name was Dave.
Yes, unless my name was Dave. Dave can be more excited than anyone for the Wild Berries.
I'm very excited. Wild Bears.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for tuning in, for hanging with us. This was a much longer episode than normal.
Don't let me talk.
Well, again, it's hard to have a short episode about Star Wars because everyone, even if you don't like it, everyone has an opinion on Star Wars, and that's what matters.
I like it.
True.
So, thanks for coming, for myself, for Rob, for Dave, and for the group of the North, or the Northern Entertainment Group. We thank you, and have a good night.